our last topic in our Psychology Pathway series, we explored the nature of relationships. Another occurring issue that Monique and I encounter in our psychology and coaching practice is limiting beliefs. It's often very tempting to remain in our comfort zones and to stay stuck in a way of being. And so it requires a lot of work to actually step out of this zone, and there's sometimes resistance in making change and surrendering ourselves to this change. The fear of the unknown and fear of failure, and often the fear of success. What's it like to actually step into our power and be seen and witnessed in that? So these challenges often require a degree of support, and it can be hard to reach out for support because then we have to admit that we have flaws, that there might be something wrong with us, and that's often a barrier that people face when seeing a counsellor or psychologist, that they're going to be perceived as there's something wrong with me. And really what it's about is being supported to overcome our obstacles, to step out of our comfort zones and to embrace change in such a way that we grow as a person, we develop and we become more whole and authentic as a person. So there's no shame in actually reaching out for support. This is often true with men who feel that they need to be stoic, they need to do it themselves. So when accessing a psychologist or counsellor, trying to get over the stigmas of that can be often a challenge, particularly as the field of psychology itself has a history of being quite similar to a doctor's practice because it comes from a medical model. But I see psychology as quite different. That my role is to empower you, to support you through a process, not to see you as a problem. It's really about trying to connect and to be seen and supported through a process. And to do this requires trust, to be able to relate to, be related to, and to relate in such a way where you feel like you're understood, that there's a relationship, there's a connection. And this is where the role of a counsellor is really important, the role of a psychologist, to be able to understand what you might be going through. And it's important to have the training as a backbone, so I understand the concepts behind diagnosis and treating and assessing. But really I'm a person, and I see you as a person, and there's a relationship that we build, there's a trust that's gained, and through that process I see my role as one to motivate and to guide and support your journey, your life journey.
The more breakthroughs you experience, the more limiting beliefs actually arise. There's nothing that will trigger limiting beliefs more than relationships, for example. The closer you get to someone, the more the tapes will run. And you could be a top performer and you'll have limiting beliefs, or you can be feeling like a failure and you'll have limiting beliefs. A lot of corporates get coaches in to work with their executives, not the ones that are flailing, but actually the ones that are the top performers, because they want to know how they can actually encourage them to succeed further. So what I find fascinating about limiting beliefs is that the further you move through them, there'll always be more being uncovered. And again, working with a coach here is invaluable because it's about ongoing support to explore, to chart your imagination, and to actually look at marrying your vision and what you want with where you are today. So actually charting a pathway to saying, well, okay, this is where I am in the here and now, but how can I actually find out how I get to that vision of the future? For me, coaching is almost about deliberately seeking out opportunities to break through. Instead of avoiding the discomfort, leaning into the discomfort. That's something which, in a weird way, I kind of get off on. If I find something's a painful thing or I find something's uncomfortable, I know that there's a doorway there that I can move through, but it's like my unconscious is actually asking me to knock on a door. I won't do that by myself. If I did that by myself, I would be there already. So really what I want is I want somebody who is able to be a bit objective, to draw me out, to move into my unconscious and to look at what my real hidden hopes and dreams and aspirations are. And with that person to work with me to actually look at what actions I can take. And I discover courage. I discover courage which is within me, but that maybe I'm not used to staring at in the face. And that's a really empowering feeling. And it's at that point I jump off the cliff and I fly. So yeah, that's what I think about limiting beliefs.